Alright everybody, sorry for the last time, and because of some work I had to just simply leave. It was just few like 10 minutes ago or something. And anyway, here we are back, and let's start from where we actually left. So hopefully everything's clear right now. Yeah. So what we were working on, I even forgot. So we grouped it, and when we grouped it, we wanted to select when one shape is selected, right? There's gonna be a lot to debug once this is done, because while working on this I'm gonna be messing up with many things for sure. At least this seems to be working. What I'm gonna be doing here, that is what was I wanted to do, what did I want to do? Click the shapes, that's great. Click the shapes and click the shapes. So if we are actually clicking the shape, then once we click on a shape, then we got the preview shape. Once we got the preview shape, we'll check what? We have to get the grouped shapes. So in those grouped shapes, they need to be stored here. So ultimately I have to pass the preview shapes in here. Preview shapes in the sense more than one shapes. What are we doing? We were passing the preview shapes, all the preview shapes. That was problematic. So group the preview shapes. Let's just simply get them. So group the preview shapes. What are they going to be? Group the preview shapes IDs. Let's just simply get that. So that's gonna be think from the shape you will be able to get the shape ID, group ID. Once you have the group ID, any shape having that ID, that's right. So first of all, before even this, let's have the group ID. Group ID is gonna be preview shape dot group ID. So once we got the group ID, now we have the group IDs, right? So using that group ID, we can find the shapes. We have group IDs, but here we already have the group ID. Once we have the group ID, we can look for the shapes. So instead of looking for the shape here in the preview section, where is this coming from? This is coming from there. So this is the shape that got actually hit, right? So not just this, this is actually the hit shape that we have. Preview hit shape. This is fine. Even group bounds, when it comes to getting the group bounds, so when we are hitting only one shape, but if that is a bound, I mean if that is a group, then that's gonna be different. Okay, there are gonna be two situations here. Anyway, preview hit shape, from here I'm gonna be getting the group ID. Once I got the group ID, so if group ID GROUP, if group ID actually exists, that simply means there are other shapes as well. So we'll go with this way. Else, if the group ID doesn't exist, then the remaining wage. So I'm gonna be returning from here. If the group ID exists, that simply means group has been created and we have to handle it different way. So the logic is gonna be here. If that does not exist, in that case type is selector, his shape is gonna be this, and grouped shapes is actually gonna be just an object. So I'll just simply pass the preview hit shape array, and what it will do, it will try getting the group ID from there, but as I look through that groups.shape.id, so it does not find it there. That simply means it will initialize it, and once it initializes that, one more thing, when it initializes this, initially when it ran, I got the shape. Once I got the shape, I got the groups dot shape. If that exists, do this. If that doesn't exist, just empty array really, or groups dot shape dot id will be having shape. This is how it's gonna be going on. And if that doesn't exist, so that's gonna be the group. So and whatever I'm doing here, this should only be working because we cannot make group of only one shape, right? So whatever is happening here, that should be working when the group's length is greater than 2. So preview shapes dot filter shape and group id. So I got the preview shapes, but there can be many as well. So if groups that I got dot these are what grouped shapes dot for each. There can be different types of shapes, right? And then I'm gonna be getting groups from here, and once I actually get groups, so once I get the group, I just simply send it there. The thing is that I'm just simply passing the preview hit shape. Passing the preview hit shape in the sense there's gonna be a group of only one shape, and so grouped shapes, that is okay, fine, okay, not really big problem. And apart from this particular thing, the remaining things needs to be handled here, right? So if I have the group ID, that simply means there are other shapes in that particular group. So const grouped shapes id each, grouped shapes id each. How am I gonna be getting other shapes? Ultimately grouped shapes, that would be great. Grouped preview shapes. So to get them, what can I do? I can have all the preview shapes. First of all, this. So preview shapes means the selected shapes that have been cloned. So we have all the preview shapes. Preview shapes dot filter shape if shape dot group id equals to group id GROE group id. That means what? That simply means from the preview shape means they are the selected ones, and from the preview shapes, from all the preview shapes, we are checking if their group IDs, the shapes group ID is equals to the group ID of the clicked shape. If that is so, that simply means these are gonna be the grouped preview shapes. Yeah, shapes that belongs to that particular group. Once I have this, then what next? I have to go with the same. Come on, paste it in here, select, and this time preview shapes are gonna be what? Preview shapes, that's gonna change. So the preview shapes are gonna be grouped preview shapes, and this is also gonna change. Remaining group bounds. So when it comes to group bounds, so we have to get the group bounds using this box only. Get bounding box. So bounding box of the preview head shape. So bounding box of that, because we select it. So if that is actually if group ID exists, that simply means we have to get group bounds, and for getting the group bounds we need to pass the shapes, and they are the grouped preview shapes. So over here we will have group bounds, and then we will return, and this only applies when there are groups. So if shape belongs to a group, then this applies. Let's see what's gonna happen. I'm missing something. What is that? Definitely the shape is being clicked. That is good. We are not invalidating. Invalidate. Now let's have a look at this. Reload the page. Group them. They are grouped. Select one. Clicked. So the shape is definitely being clicked. If the shape is being clicked, is this running? Let's see. Yeah, so this part is running as well. As this part is running, so group the preview shapes CLG. Let it be there first of all. As this part is running, CLG grouped. The easiest way would be this. Now let's check this thing out. Empty array. Why? We have an empty array. Preview shapes. This preview shapes. Preview shape is empty, so this is empty. Fine. What am I missing? It is still dependent on what? It is dependent on the preview shapes. And what are the preview shapes? When you select them, then only you get the preview shapes. It should not be dependent on that. So it should be dependent on the shape. shapes. From the shapes I'll get the preview shapes. But this is not what I want. I'll fix this anyway, but now this is fine. When I select any one of these, both get selected. That is fine, they should get selected, but not like this. So what is the problem now? Grouped shapes. Let me just log the value of this as well. This is fine, this is fine, and this is fine as well. Overall things are working, but I'd like to check the value of, first of all, get grouped shapes, exactly what shapes we get and what's the structure of that. So we get it like this. So ultimately there's an ID of the shape and there is the exact shape, and the same way it's just happening here. So that's the right way, no problem as such. And how about bounds? Because we are passing preview shapes, so I should be getting the group bounds. So grouped preview shapes, group bounds must be passed to somewhere. Get bounding box when there is only one. Select, but when we move the mouse, probably update selection over. Okay, get resize handle at point. Let me do one thing. Begin move interaction or resize shapes whenever pointer moves and when that is down at that time. On pointer move selection. If pointer down ref.current is true, then return from here. If that is not true, then this is gonna be running. When this runs, so at that time update selection over, and that is it. So this is mainly for overing. And coming back to this, if pointer is not down, return from here. And as for the move and resize, then but we have selection box in here, get selection box, and get selection box bounds. Set selected shape IDs and invalidate it here. So what am I missing? When we select it all, that simply means selection bounds. At that time, what do we do? When it comes to a selection box, because we are actually not returning, okay, that's fine. So if we are not really returning, so if it doesn't belong to any one of the cases, it will belong to this one. And interaction ref.current, interaction and the end point. So in that case, is driving ref true. So what we are doing, first of all, we are getting all the interaction values and we are just simply adding the end value over there, because the interaction we already have the starting and is gonna be there and it will be done, sort of, right? And this, all these things only happen when the shape is selected, not normally. Okay, fine. So what is what do I want in here? I want this kind of effect, and this kind of effect means when you clicked on one shape, it set all the selected shapes as well. Okay, fine. So where am I clicking? On pointer down. So on pointer down I am clicking here. This much is not enough. We even have to set the selected shapes. That simply means when I have grouped the preview shapes, this is gonna be done. Set selected shapes IDs and grouped preview shapes dot map shape and shape dot id. So I'm setting the grouped shapes as the selected one. And when does it happen? When there are grouped, when I click on a shape and if it has the group ID, then I'm doing this, and here we are. We have this effect, but I don't want the inner one. Not willing to have the inner one means what? I just want to have the top one. That simply means I want this kind of result. Having the result of this kind is what? Means if selected shape that has group ID, then I don't have to render that, even if that is a selected shape. Yeah, if that has group ID. So when I'm rendering here, shape selection is here and group selection is here. What is our goal? Our goal is group selection and we are rendering that, but we have to modify the shape selection as well. How will we do it? We already did it here. So if shape has group ID, return it. As simple as that. Aren't we doing it here? If the shape has group ID, we are returning. Same when selecting multiple shapes. Render group selection bounds. The top level is gonna be rendered here, and especially if it is greater than 1, that simply means there are more than one selected shapes. Where is this selection shape coming from? Render overlay and the selection shape so is a transform interaction. So if we are moving and all, in that case that's gonna be interaction dot preview shapes. That is fine, and if not, it's gonna be getting it from the selected shapes. We are already setting the value of the selected shapes, so it will get all the selected shapes. That's fine. So once we have the selection shapes and we have the selection shape in here only, and we have to render. So while rendering, render shape selection. Let me see one thing. When I click on this selection pointer down, I set this here. So CLG grouped preview shape, they are set as selected shape. So what value do they have? Two values in here. Does it have group ID? It does have that. How about the second one? It does have that. If they have the group ID, I don't have to draw the inner box that's been drawn. And what is that? That's the shape bound. That's usually drawn for normal shapes. So if there is a normal shape like this, and if I draw it, it is drawn like that. But I want to avoid this when there are selected, but this it's just lagging for some reason. Reload the page. This works good for these two. This works good for this. Now if I group selection, it looks like this. That's the same kind of result I want. If I select them, so they look like this. Why? Because it has the group IDs. Canvas renderer. So the first one is this is fine. Select interaction.group shapes. So if interaction actually has the group shapes, it is gonna render them like this. So there's gonna be only render group selection box. So the top one is gonna be there. Okay, fine. The top one. And apart from this particular thing, for the remaining ones we are skipping it. I'm not getting one thing. Then render shape selection, why is this getting called? Let's check the first one out. But the length is gonna be greater than 1. That simply means the second one is getting called render shape selection. CLG rendering shape selection. This part is not really running. Interesting. If this does not run, then this doesn't run either. Two times this particular part run. That simply means this part never ran. Or probably it did. That's fine. So the problem is in this one, not in these. They're working fine. How about this? Because at the end of the day only this one is running, right? Rendering shapes 4 times because there are 4 shapes. Interaction.group shapes. Interaction does have a group shape, and it even has the preview shapes. So I'm gonna be getting this, bounce this. So interaction.grouped shapes. Grouped shapes in the sense the shapes which have been grouped together. What is the what type of that? There's gonna be key and there are gonna be values. As simple as that. The key and the value. Grouped shapes. Dot values. I just got all the shapes. Once I got all the shapes, get grouped bounds. I got the bounds. Render group selection. So we have 2 options: render shape selection, render group selection. Group selection draws selection bounds. Render group selection, but as what? As group. What am I missing? Child means it renders them like this. Wow. So this part is never ever running. So why am I still getting this? Rendering selection, let's see which one ran. So ultimately what happened that this particular section actually ran because the selected shapes were set there. Selected shapes. We have to take care of two things. We have to take care of the bounds if they exist, and first of all we have to render the bounds, and then we have to take care of selected shapes. So when it comes to bounds, so bound is not really running, so we have to fix the logic of the bound first of all, and render shape selection is sort of okay. Yeah, so this logic is getting called in here, else if, and ultimately bounds are being rendered as expected. So normally when we move the mouse, this is what happens, because when we move the mouse we set what do we do when we move the mouse? When we normally move the mouse, pointer down, not pointer move. If we move the mouse and the type is initially when we click, the type automatically gets decided. So if the type is selection box, we change the value of this selection box bounds, we get selected shapes id in box, and we set it. So as we move, the shapes id is being stored, right? Okay, so as we clicked on a point, what we did, if the shape already does not exist and we clicked on a point, then we had two options. If it has group id, if it had, then we found all the group preview shapes, set selected id shape.id, that is okay. Preview shapes, group the preview shapes, so ultimately two shapes, shapes.filter if the shape dot group id triple equals to group id of those shapes. Then we got this. Once we got this, we are setting it here. If we are actually setting the selected shapes, why do we need to set the preview shape? Preview shape is only important when you start moving. Right? When you click on the shape for the first time, preview shape is not required. That is good. Then whenever I have to change the logic, Okay, let me have some water now. What that logic is that usually what happens, let's get the real examples, that would be better. Grouping is not allowed here. Oh, it is. So we have this normal group, as simple as that. So if that something is grouped, so I don't have to render the child elements, that is okay, fine. And that can be done by rendering the group elements first and then skipping the renders for other elements, the grouped ones. That is okay. And just a sec, give me a moment. Okay, so here we are. So what I was just simply saying that first of all we have to render the groups, that is for sure. So groups are gonna be rendered. The second thing is that we have to render the shapes, selected ones, selected shapes. These are the few things that we have to keep in mind. And once this is done, what's the next thing? When we click and start selecting, and if the group is selected, once the group is selected, so what we actually do, that because this is just the selection, so this is just the selected shape, so we are not really adding the value to the preview one, right? Only when we click on the selected shape, then it should become the preview. And that is right, it exactly happens the same way. So when I simply did this, when I clicked this, then this happened. Even it doesn't have any effect of the zooming, so probably this will also be something that will be taken care of. But as for right now, what to do? How can I implement this logic? In this case, it doesn't really matter whether you click on that or not. In my case, what I'm doing actually, that as soon as I click on a selected shape, I get the preview shapes, and when I get the preview shapes, so the overlay is rendered using preview shape, otherwise it's rendered using selected one, and the result should, if that is so, then get these, otherwise you get the shapes directly, preview shapes. So ultimately I'm getting the selection shapes. So either I'm getting them from here or here, it doesn't really matter, I have to render them the same way. At the end of the day, I'm just simply getting the shapes. Fine, as I'm just getting the shapes, so the length is gonna be greater than 1. That simply means this part is gonna run. When this part runs, so interaction dot group bounds, because when we have preview shape, having preview shape means what? Having preview shape means having this, and having this means rendering group selections. because if I don't have it, then clicking doesn't really make any difference, as simple as that. But this is how it looks like then. So for this I have to do something, so that I'm just simply rendering the box, that is it. So let's just render the box. Group selection does what? Draw selection bounds. What does this do? Is draw the selection bounds. If I lovely. So what we are doing, that we are getting the shapes, but there is only one shape, so it's gonna be rendered only once. So once that is so, render group selection. Render group selection. Selection type. Draw selection bounds. And there are two things. Drawing the upper level rectangle, this is gonna be the selection box. If selection type is equals to group, then the selection box needs to be shown. Otherwise, by default, this is the selection box, that's fine. Or it should rather be shape selection box. And if group selection box, we have both. Now this group selection box will be shown every time, that is okay. So if I have stroke rect, and then we have this that actually draws these handles and all, if that is equals to group. So what do I need to do? Only this much I get. Why? I get only this result because they are selected shape, and having selected shape means this part is not gonna run because it needs grouped shapes, and the selected shape doesn't really have that, and that's fine as well. That's fine or not? That is not fine. Why? Because as we move, I need to know about the preview shape at this point of time, so that if I am selecting many shapes, at least I have the preview of the group as well. And this can only be done when I have grouped shapes from the beginning. If there are grouped shapes, they should be there. That simply means when I move the mouse, I have to add the value of the grouped shape as well. Moving the mouse, that simply means selection area. So coming back to this, something needs to be changed. selection actions. What are we doing? One more thing that we stopped, that is this one. So whenever we clicked on any shape, at that time we are just simply setting this. We even have to set the value of this. It is compulsory. So as soon as I clicked on any shape, from then on I have group bounds, and even when the selection box is there, that simply means when I'm moving the mouse over here, as I move the mouse, so what am I doing? At the end we are just simply setting the selected shape IDs. I have to change this. We have to add the shape, in the sense whatever comes under that, and preview shape is fine. Every selected shape is gonna be preview shape. Selected preview, both are rendered on the overlay. That is fine. Okay. So we have to add the preview shape as we draw the cursor. So whenever the selection box is drawn, we need to know what are the preview shapes. Then in that case we don't even need to set the IDs, because we would already have the preview shapes from the beginning, and as we have the preview shapes from the beginning, they can directly be used instead of relying on the set selected shape IDs. Probably, until unless we actually do it in action, we can never be sure about something. So copy it. Now the interesting thing is, what do we want to do? We want to set the preview shape, and we even want to set the groups. So overall this same logic is gonna be, not exactly, but sort of. Let's try doing. So what are we doing? First of all, endpoint we got. Once we got the endpoint, selection box bounds, we got the selection box bounds, and selected shapes IDs in box. So we filtered all the shapes IDs. Once we have all the shapes IDs, selected shapes IDs in box, in that case we have all the IDs in that box. Fine. What is the next thing? The next thing is that all those selected shape IDs in box should be the preview shapes. So selected shape, let me do one thing. Selected shapes in box, this is the first thing. If we need, then const selected shapes IDs in box in the sense selection box, that's gonna be equals to selected shapes in box dot map shape, if that exists. Then what I have to return? I have to return shape dot ID. So we have the selected shapes in the box as well as their IDs. Now all the IDs are gonna be selected shape IDs. All the IDs are gonna be selected shape IDs, and that is what we are doing here. That's fine. And apart from this particular thing, now we have all the selected shapes. Once we have all the selected shapes, then what do we have to do? We have to loop through them. So it's not like this time we'll be having a preview hit shape. No. So let's get rid of this group ID. We will not have it. So let's get rid of this. we have all the shapes in box, so we can just simply map through them, then we'll be getting the shapes, then we can get the group, and probably we can get it done. So selected shapes in box dot, for each I'm gonna be getting shape. It is gonna be sort of like this. Once I have the shape, if shape dot group ID exists, if a shape has a group ID, means what? There are gonna be other shapes as well. Fine. So this way we'll be going through all the shapes. So first of all we have to loop through all the shapes, and get grouped shapes. Grouped preview shapes, it already returns us, right? This thing, it gets the preview shapes, it maintains an object, loops through that and checks which one belongs to which group. Great. So if I come back here, then we don't really need to do it manually in that case. So manually in the sense, I can completely get rid of this and this, probably this, and once we have the selected shapes in box, then what do we have to do? We have to get the grouped shapes. So that's gonna be selected shapes in the box. It has to just simply calculate this. Preview shapes are gonna be all the selected shapes in the box. It will calculate the grouped shapes from there only. And group bounds, it needs to be calculated from the selected shape bounds itself. Yes or no? Okay. Group bounds, that simply overall bounds. And then set selected shape IDs we don't really need to do because it's already being done in here. So let's just simply get rid of this and get rid of this. So this is what we've done. So what have I done? As we move the selection box or move the mouse, we have the preview shape. Now as we have the preview shapes, okay, so right now we can directly use the preview shapes. In case if we don't have, so we can switch back to the selected shapes. But if I come back to this one now, from the beginning I will have the preview shapes. So if I say is transform interaction whatever, then what I'm doing, I'm just simply saying that if interaction dot type is equal to draw interaction dot preview shape, and interaction dot preview shape, ultimately that's gonna be an array. Come on. So we get an array of the preview shape. If that is true, then this happens, otherwise this happens. So if the type is draw, then of course I'm gonna be getting an array of that particular preview shape, and while drawing the preview shape is being assigned there, that's okay. And if not, that simply means the type is not draw, then is the transformation, then in that case, if type is not equals to draw, so that simply means type is this. That simply means I have to get the preview shapes from there. Interaction dot preview shape in interaction dot preview shapes, it doesn't make any sense. If it is equals to draw, then I will have preview shape, and in the remaining cases it's gonna be preview shapes. That is right. When that's equals to draw, so I have only one single shape, and in the remaining cases we have many shapes, so it's like we have preview shapes in that case. Understood. So this logic is right. And now if preview shapes dot length is greater than 0, then we have to just simply render the shapes. Well, it's not even problematic thing. The problematic thing is the selection section. So now is the transform interaction or this, then interaction dot group the shapes, it's gonna be there all the time, and then we are gonna be rendering this, and then we have selection shapes is transformed, then get the preview shapes. Having said that, this is always gonna be there now, and in the remaining case I'm actually trying to get what this now it doesn't really matter which one you get, preview shapes are always gonna be there. So we could just go with this as well, shape selection. Let's see how it works. We are unable to draw the marquee selection. Why? Marquee selection is not being drawn. Now we are able to. So this is what that's causing the issue. Marquee selection. So if the type becomes select, then of course marquee selection cannot be drawn. That's right. So the type doesn't need to be select, or does it? Because if the type is selector, we cannot draw the marquee selection. In that case, even marquee selection, when we are drawing, it can have the preview shapes and group bounds. That is right. So now the only thing is that it cannot contain the values as per the type. So we have to selection box can have many more things now. So selection box will have type, start point, end point, and as we draw the selection box, it will keep getting the preview shapes as well. So and interaction selection. If that is the selection box, then it requires more. So instead of doing just this, I'd rather dot 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 pointer reps dot interaction rep dot current. Is this okay? So we have all the default values and we are just simply adding these extra values. Again, they are gonna be optional. It's not like they definitely need to be there. And where is the error here? What's wrong with this point? So whenever we click, if that is actually optional, then what's the issue? Selection box, start point, end point. Isn't that value optional? No. So when we actually click, at the time it does need to contain the preview shapes and all, and that is okay. Let it contain. So we already have the hit shape, preview shapes, so that's gonna be hit shape. if it does not exist, if there's no heater, okay, that's fine. If there's no heater, so this is gonna be empty. And group bounds empty, and group the shapes just like this. This one doesn't need to be empty, so group bounds can actually be null. Can't I keep them optional? If you actually make them optional, that's gonna be problematic. Fine. So click outside the current selection, start a new selection box. When you are clicking outside, there are no preview shapes, so preview shape is gonna be empty. As for the bounds, what is the type of the bound? Okay, can't they have the null value? It's crazy. In that case, let me do one thing. Just in this case, in case of this, shell, is this fine? Now this is gonna be alright. I made the values partial in the sense they are optional. So in case of the selection box, either give the value or not, completely up to you. In the remaining case, that's just compulsory to be there. So we are able to draw this. We are able to draw these as well, and they are not grouped though. Now let's just simply group them. So once grouped, they actually look like this. And of course I have to change their what's that? Anyway, I have to change the border that they have and all. But if I click on one shape, I still get this, so I have to stop it. Let's get rid of this as well. Let's directly come here. And what's the next thing? At the end of the day, this logic is running. Just a minute, give me a moment. Okay, I'll be right back. Alright everybody, here we are. So time to override the logic, because the way the logic has been written, that's not working in our favor. So whenever we render this, so both are getting rendered, right? Ultimately child as well as the parent, and when this particular logic runs, only group gets rendered. What I want that it should consider group as a child element. Is that possible? This is it. So somehow if that is a group, I have to render just a box. So that's gonna be, so ultimately this is the parent, this is the child. So parent child combination is working fine except for the group. So for the group I have to write the logic separately. Great, writing the logic separately if there is a group. So render group selection, it could be what, render group selection or group shapes, not group selection, grouped shapes selection. So time to create a render grouped shapes selection. This is gonna be a different one. It will be rendering the grouped shapes selection. Now how will it be working and all, that's another case where I have the logic of rendering the things. So the logic is just at the top, and when it comes to this, it should it be what, one more thing, how does it work? It has the parent. So if there's only one, right, then it does not have them. Fine. So ultimately what can be the logic here, that group shape is always this only. Selected shapes can be there many in the same group. So once we have the selected shape, and if there's any selected shape without any group ID, then I have to go with the top level, and that is something we are already doing. So if I just simply get rid of this part for a while, this, right, and then going ahead this. So this particular thing is already being done. The only thing that we need to take care of, that is rendering this selection box somehow. And once it is rendered, so if all the shapes they have group ID, all the selected shapes, if they have the group IDs, then I have to render the top level group. Ultimately I don't have to render this, as simple as what I mean here, that if all the child, forget about the child, all the selected shapes, if they have group IDs, that simply means they belong to the same shape, same selected group. Hence I don't need to render the group box condition separately. But if there's any single shape like this one that doesn't belong to that group, in that case I have to render this one conditionally. Really important. But first of all, let's render this here. Okay, fine. So let's write the condition for it. Condition can be, first of all we have the selected shapes, right? Selected, yeah, the grouped shapes. We have the grouped shapes, but we don't care about the grouped shapes. We care about preview shapes. Fine, preview shapes, right? So const preview shape. I think I should already have it here. Preview shapes, preview shapes, preview shapes, preview shapes, preview shapes. Here which, so we already have preview shapes. What I want that I want to check the ID. So const contains only grouped shapes. Contains only grouped shapes. What do we have to do? That we have to check that the preview shapes that we have, whether that only contains the grouped shapes or that contains one single shape that is not grouped. So how do we do that? So to check it, it's just gonna be true or false, right thing. That is right. So if there is even a single, so we have to check for even one. Okay, so preview shapes dot every, I think this should work, I don't know, let's see. So shape, and every does what? It checks the condition on all the elements, and if it is right on all, it returns true. So what do we have to do? That shape dot group id. So what will it do? It will return me true if all the shapes they have the group id, and it will return me false even if a single one has. Let me see. CLG contains this string cut string paste string this. Here we are. So try it. We selected two shapes. It's not even running. Okay, reload the page. That's not even running. Why? Group shapes, group selection. What is happening? So now this is running, but in here, come on, in here this doesn't run. So is a transform interaction, otherwise interaction dot type should be equals to select. What is the CLG? That's actually selection box. Anyway, it can be select as well, can't it be? It can be, or it can be, because right now interaction it can even be selection box as well, selection box, because even at that time we are getting the preview shapes and all, right? So great, true. So true means what? True means it has only grouped shapes. It's still true. It's still true. Why? Because we are checking it on the preview shape, and preview shape keeps changing, doesn't it? Why it can be true, yeah? Calm down, and let's see. We are getting the preview shapes. As we resize, the preview shape changes or not? Preview shape is the combination of all. How can it change? It cannot. So what do I have to just take care of then? On the go, preview shapes change. That is right. So this should not be okay. Then what should be okay? Interaction dot preview shape should be okay. Oh, what is the problem, bro? Preview shapes is possibly undefined. Fine. Good job. in this case this can be undefined, that is right. So if that can actually be undefined, in that case I'll say that in selection box that can actually be undefined. In that case I don't have to render this, I'll have to fix that part as well. So if interaction dot preview shapes undefined, then just return for loop will stop, that's fine. False now, true, false, true, false, true, false. That's what we wanted. Once we have this, and even we have to fix this part, so that by default yeah, that's fine. Okay, if we just simply click on empty space, we don't really need to render that, so that's okay. And if it is true, if contains only grouped shapes, I have to render this, otherwise I don't have to render that. The question is that what will this do now? First of all, I have to create a function, and second thing is that once that's actually created, then it will be doing something. What it will be doing, we'll see. Render shapes, where is this actually coming from? String draw. So all these things, they actually come from draw selection bounds. So draw selection bounds, we have to draw one more, and that's gonna be grouped shape. Nah, what was the name? कहाँ गया भाया? Grouped shape selection. Grouped shape selection makes sense. So कहाँ draw, and when we are drawing, we wanna draw selection box. Bounds are there, line selection is there, marquee selection is there. I'm gonna have grouped shapes selection dot ts. Once it is here, string copy. Again, I will not write the logic again and again, so we'll customize the logic. Again, when it comes to customization, so I don't really need any this part, so let's get rid of this part. I just need to draw or stroke correct, something like that. And rotation, अब ये rotation का मैं क्या करूँ, just a sec. Rotation is what? Rotation is what? My rotation line connecting top. रोटेशन एक्स एंड रोटेशन वाई, ये रोटेशन क्या है भाई? मीन एक्स प्लस width divided by 2, that simply means half of the width plus mean x, that's gonna be the midpoint, that's called the rotation. Okay, fine, got it, but still I don't need this. I don't need this either. This thing is okay, edges are okay, but min x, max x, min x, midpoints are not okay. I don't need midpoints. Handles are there, and we have to render a stroke, good, and we don't have to have it done. And this should be draw grouped shape selection, as simple as that. So once we have it here, we are getting the bounds. Once we have the bounds, width and height, think about it. So the stroke, the rectangle that you are gonna be drawing, line width, that's already using the scale. That is good. Scale is already being used, so we can get rid of this part as well. Handles are not used. Handles are not used because we already have x and y, and yeah, that's also fine, not needed. Let's change the color to red so that we are actually able to see it in action well. Are no suggestions? Am I not exporting that from there? रखा कहाँ मैंने उसे? I forgot. That should be inside draw. Yeah, draw. We were drawing. So this export default. Draw grouped shape selection. If we are drawing grouped shape selection, so that should be visible here. So not render. Draw, and that is also fine. Now what all it needs? It needs the CTX scale. The sequence is just the opposite of what I expected, so let's have it like this. This is fine, and that is it. Finger crossed, and let's see. When we are moving, there is okay, at the end it goes away. We have to fix that. It does not work as expected. False. Then it should be drawn. Alright. First of all, as long as it is false, it works. Then it doesn't. What am I missing? भाई साहब, if it doesn't contain grouped shapes, ये लगेगा. I mean, it's gonna take around 2 days to just simply fix it. I mean, you have to write the logic, see if it works. If it doesn't work, write the other logic, and then keep doing it until something works. Crazy. So contains only grouped shapes, but this is what? An array. Sorry, a for loop. So good to have a for loop, isn't that? Yeah, good to have that. But okay, nothing's visible. Such a good thing, right? So we don't see red color. Now we see red color as soon as another shape is added, but it should not be like that. I have to correct that, but that is good, and it should remain like this even if I move the mouse, but it goes away. So this is something we have to fix. Why does it go away? And then we will fix this selection shape logic, though no worries. But before that, if the pointer up actually happens, what is happening on pointer up? Selection actions on pointer up, down, move, and pointer up. And it turns out that we are setting type to none. Type none means what? Type none means this particular logic. Come on, not this one. Whenever pointer up happens, what am I missing? Pointer up. अरे भाई हट जा यार, वैसे फंसा हूँ मैं. Grouped bounds selected shapes. That is okay. We can fix it anytime. But this is it. This logic is not running. So whenever the pointer up is actually happening, so CLG on pointer up, we have to make it run even on pointer up. Pointer up, pointer up, pointer up. But again, this is actually happening when pointer is down. 55. Yeah, it remains at 55. Okay. So on pointer up, on pointer up. Type is none and nope. We have to fix this. Fixing this means knowing the exact region behind that. But before even knowing the region, does this run here? 14, pointer up, 19. Great, some progress. If it actually becomes 19 here, that simply means this part does not run. 15, yeah. If that is actually none, then nothing's gonna work. Okay. I think bhai, whatever I have here now, let's get rid of this. So this whole thing that I have, transformation related, I'm just simply gonna get rid of this whole if statement. Now there is a problem, and that problem is that group shape does not exist. Then that's problematic. How can I fix it without breaking it? If the pointer is none, this is not gonna be running. If I actually set the pointer interaction dot type to none, it's gonna be the bigger blunder. Because none means it doesn't contain anything. Okay, so this is something we have to avoid doing, and we have to run it when the pointer up happens, and this is not running because it doesn't know whether the group shape actually exists, and on pointer up group shape is definitely not gonna exist. So let's keep it inside none. So ultimately, even if the point is none, I may have the shapes. Why am I setting it to none here? I mean, the simple thing is this. Let it be whatever it is. In here, I'm setting it to none. Comment it. Let's have this commented, so that later I can just simply search for this word and I can just reach it. And once it is commented, then what will happen? It is set to none. Okay. Then the problem is that wherever I click, it starts from there on. Fine. On pointer up, this should be, let it be select. I think this can be better, so I can have it. Instead of this, what I'll do, that row, I'm happy with everything, just one request, that is you need to be select. So but it should be dot type, there should be select. At least I'm able to move it, otherwise it was crazy. Yeah, we did this, didn't we? So we are able to see this. Now again we have to fix it. We are gonna be working on that, but at least this progress is good, isn't this? And now we have to fix the logic that we just wrote for this one. So we are passing the bounds. They are the group bounds. Are we sure they are the bounds of the shapes? So we actually have the group bounds. Think what is this group bound is. When we pass the shape, we get the maximum and the minimum value. That is the group bound. That simply means it has the result of all of them. Fine. So draw. This is just being used twice. I think that just import here at the top. So the first one is import. I thought it was being used twice. Anyway, this is it. It's being used once. Not really. Shapes. How many shapes are there? CLG shapes. Okay. Yeah, such a good thing. We still have one. And what is this shape? Hey, one? ऐसे कैसे? What kind of shape is this? Group shape. So even if there is a group shape, shouldn't I have two? I'm logging shapes. Think man, think. Bhai, let's log the value of group shapes first of all. CLG GROUP AD shapes, group shapes. क्या बात है? This is gonna be interaction dot this. So it has two values. Now अरे ग्रुप आईडी भाई किधर गए हो? 90F0F 2F 92F 92F. Bro, this is cheating. If what is this? Such a great person I am. I'm using the ID of okay, I should not use the ID as the key. I should use the group ID as the key. Where am I doing it? अभी तो मैं जो भूल गया भाई मैंने किया कहाँ था. Okay, where did we do this? कब किया? When moving the shape, right? Ultimately it should be done at this level. So whenever we are moving the shape, at that time we are deciding it. So selection, and whenever we are moving the mouse, so by start interaction, this directly move to the main functions. Pointer move selection, here it is. When this is being done, when there is a selection box, we are doing this, then get group shapes. If I come back here, wow, yeah, one more time I feel like saying wow. Shape.id, really? What should it be? It should be group ID, bro, group ID. Now null groups.shape.group ID. That can definitely be optional, that is right. A shape may not have any ID at all. So as I'm looping through that, and I have the group shapes. How do I know they are the group shapes? Several group ID. So they are the grouped shapes. That's right. So these grouped shapes, they have the shape dot group ID. क्या बात है? I'm literally the craziest guy ever, bro. This is grouped shapes ID you are getting from here. So grouped shapes IDs. No, not really. Sorry. Not that craziest anyway. So it's this is not map, this is the filter, so it will actually filter the value if it doesn't exist. If it exists, it will be true, so it will be filtered. Then we got grouped shapes. Once we got that, so ultimately shape contains the group ID. Once the shape actually contains the group ID, so shape dot group ID, I should be able to have it here, but it is telling me what null cannot be used at index, undefined cannot be used this. So bro, I'm gonna make sure that the value okay, so we are gonna make sure that the group ID definitely exists, because this is where we've checked this, so it's definitely gonna exist. And that is it. Having said that, if I can even have a check here that if not shape dot group ID, in that case I'm just simply gonna return from here, and then I will not have to have this over here. And apart from this particular thing, that is it. Yeah, isn't this what we wanted? Just have a look at this. Come on. So let's have some more shapes. This is the group. So by default the group looks like this. And how does the group, as for the styling we'll have to do something, because usually group has these dots. That can be easily done. We'll do it anyway. We'll do it. Coming back to this, so, kahan gaya bhai? Ye here. So if that is just a group, it looks like this. If we just try to increase right now, so if I click on them, the group usually looks like this. If I click, doesn't matter on which shape, either on this or on this, group will pop up. Apart from this particular thing, if we just select, so just have a look. The groups, they have their own color, own designs and all. The items inside the group, they don't have any designs at all, and a single item that looks completely different. And of course we can move the things here and there, but the another thing is that they are bounding boxes, they are not moving, so we will have to fix that. And we even have to give a better design to the group, right? So that is what we have to do. So what is gonna be the next thing? The next thing is that doesn't matter in which case, I have to render it all the time. Which logic? This red color, whether it contains or not, I mean I have to render it. So let's see how it looks like. Okay. Draw group selection shape. Let's reload the page. Probably it's still using the previous styles and all, because I made some changes. I'm not getting the effects, so we have to fix that, don't we? So let's group these two. They are grouped, and now when I click on the group it looks like this. Okay, not really bad. Well, of course, this needs to change. And what needs to change here? That is, we can actually just say that it will not have it will have the default color, that was this one. How does it look like now? What does it mean? Here, So this actually looks like this, and I even have dots. So dots in the sense ctx dot line dash offset I think 5 by 5. Is this wrong? अरे भाया, line dash offset. Where do we have this offset? Inside this marquee selection. Set line dash offset. Again it should be 5 by 5, but it should not be increasing, so divide by scale. The same thing I've done in here inside marquee selection. Yeah, 4 by 4 it was, so let's make that the same. 4 by 4. Let's check this thing out. So when we click, it actually looks like this, and when we select it all, we haven't really selected it all, then it looks like this, and it can be more, so it can be 10 by 10. तेरी मंद मस्गनियों में बनिहार Okay, this seems to be sort of fine. In our case, even it has some style. So let's give it the same style. It looks like this, and then it looks like this. That is it. Let's go with this only right now. Later, of course, we are gonna be making more changes and all, and we'll be making it even better. One thing that can be done right here, that is that cannot be done. The upper bounding box is always gonna be there, and the inner one is gonna look like this, and the same thing is actually happening over here. It looks like this initially, and then it is actually over written. But the only thing is that the dots that we actually get in here, if we actually select anything, it is like this. Interesting, like this is such an interesting thing. And what is that interesting thing? That if we have groups which is dot 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 types, so we can go with this this way. Okay, let's try this thing. Then it would be better. What do we want that if because in normal shapes it doesn't work like this, right? So if we have more, it is actually like that. So just for a single shape it is that way, and if there are more shapes, that simply means there is a group shape. It so if the type is equal to group, in that case I have to change the it's easy to do. Let's do this last thing, and then done. So what I want to do, that wanting thing is whenever I'm drawing this bounds, so I'm getting child, I'm getting group, if that is actually group. Okay, so ctx dot set line dash. So if भाई क्या था वो, selection style, if selection type, if that's triple equals to group, in that case it's gonna be 1 by 1, otherwise 0 by 0. It is dot 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 even for all the shapes. That is something we have to fix. Oh, dot 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 dot. In that case, let's do one thing. If selection is to group only, then this should be running. In that case, this can be 5 by 5. There we are. Hey? Are you kidding me? For one shape at least it should not look like this. Yeah. For one shape, it should be just normal one, and if there are more shapes then it should be changing, it should be being like this, right? And that too, inner ones should always remain. So the children, hey, why am I not able to select that? Yeah, now it's working. So inner ones are great, the children are, they look the way they should be looking, and then we have the remaining works. Okay. Something is up when we are just taking care of one thing. At that time there should be child, but that is not being child, because if that actually becomes child, that, yeah, sorry, understandable. So if we have only one shape, that will still be like this. It can be 5 by 5. I don't think this is bad. We are considering it as a, because we are gonna have it, and these bounds, they are for the group only, and if we have a normal shape and we don't make it group, then I will not be able to have these, unless I actually have one more. Okay, one more. What that one more? So whenever I'm drawing, this is fine, and what is that? Line style. That can be either solid or it can be dashed. That's the only thing I can do here, that introducing one more logic so that it doesn't really interfere with each other, and in that case I just say that if line style is actually dashed, then only I'm gonna have it here. Now at least I'll not have that problem. Having said that, this is optional. First of all, this I may pass it, I may pass it, and when I pass it, when do I want to pass it? Whenever I'm setting it as a group. So coming back to this, renderer, here it is. So inside renderer, what do we want to do? That we have these two things in here, right? So it cannot be used here at all. It cannot be used here either. So let's see where we can actually implement this. First of all, it should be render overlay, that is right. And when it comes to render overlay, marquee selection, the shape selection, whenever we are drawing the, first of all, I think this is even not needed, so let's comment this. And draw grouped shape selection. We are drawing grouped shape selection, and this is 10 by 10, so it has the drawing line dash. And then going ahead, when we are drawing only a single shape, render shape selection, right? So render shape selection when there is only one shape, and when there are many shapes. So if there is only one shape, so what do we have to do? That is I'm gonna be passing now this is really bad, I should organize it better, but later I'll do that. But as for right now, it should be solid. That is it. Let's go here. We'll be getting line style. That can be either solid or that can be dashed. Once I have the line style, I'm gonna be passing to this as well as this. I think draw line selection doesn't really accept it, so line style solid, or it can be dashed. And if line style is equals to dashed, only then ctx dot set line dash, it will be 5 by 5, only when that is dashed, because by default that is a solid only, so we don't really need to change that. And coming back to this, no problem here as such. And actually the same thing needs to be implemented right here as well. So let's just have it so that we are able to customize it, we are able to decide when we'll have this and when we won't. As simple as that. Done. And now let's come back here. So whenever we are rendering one single shape, we want to have it the solid color. It will be group rectangle, but it will have a solid color. Coming back to this, when there are more than one shapes, so when we are just simply rendering the shapes, so when we are rendering the child, so child should have a solid color, and the group should have dashed color. Time to see the result, everybody. So this is it. This is how one single shape looks like once I select them. So have a look at this. So the inner ones, they have solid colors, and the outer box that has this dot dot colors. Not only this, I can group them, and when grouped, arey yaar, what is wrong? Are you kidding me? There is something wrong with this. We have to fix it. It gets smaller. Grouping, what's wrong with you? I think there's some kind of bug. Anyway, this is fine. and this is how it looks like. So the outer one, not the outer one actually, yes, let me even change the color of this, that would be better. Changing the color to अब कलर क्या होगा भैया, hashtag FFFFFF. Let me give it this color. As for right now, later we'll assign it a better one. Spread. What is this? This is the group level, right? So we have to do something for it. Group level. What are we doing there? We have to make sure that when we have the dashed line, so based on the solid, it can have dash line and some color or some other one. Fine. This line dash, it doesn't really apply on this one, so that is good, it shouldn't apply on this one. But how about when I don't render this at all? If I comment this, I'm still seeing this, and what I want here that okay, for a shape it looks like this, for many it looks like this. That's not a bad idea at all. And for this it looks like this, that is good as well. The only thing is that it looks like this. Now when I select many, it disappears. So yeah, just a sec. It should have altogether different style. Time to give it that, as long that is selected and when that is not really selected. So what do we have to do? I have to render it when it contains others. The same logic that we have. If it doesn't contains only selected groups, when this is false, then only this is gonna be rendering, and when this is actually rendering, at that time I'm gonna make it everything else is gonna be the same, just color is gonna be different. Time for an action. Done. Here we are. It has different color altogether. Now there is some extra, I mean some, I don't know why we are saying we'll fix it anyway, but at the end of the day, this is how it looks like. We can even make it lighter. So normally it looks like this, it looks like this, it looks like this. If I just select both of them, they look like this. But if I select this, it looks like this. But if I select these, the inner one, the group, the color of the group actually changes, and I think the same thing is actually happening here. It looks like this initially, then but when we select it, the color actually changes. In my case, the color is not lighter, so let's make it even more lighter. And yeah, so here we go. This is how it just simply goes on. And now the next thing that we have to focus on, ouch, I'm tired. So the next thing that we have to focus on, that is I can have more groups anyway, so this is just starting. So let's get more shapes, let's even get the text. It's been a long time playing with these things. Okay, let's get an arrow. This is gonna be one group, so let's just simply group them. So this is the first group. That doesn't matter which shape you click on, you will get the group. That's the benefit of having it. So this is the first group, this is the second group, and once we select all of them, so the color of the groups, that is in this grayish color, and others, they look like this, and that's what we wanted, didn't we? Great job. It took a lot of time. Having said that, there are many things that are yet to be done. The whole logic is yet to be formatted, and the most important thing, this is working. Yeah, great. Yeah, so when we move, at that time we have to move the, so when we are moving, we have to move this as well. Come on, think about it, because we are already doing it when mouse up happens, sorry, when we are zooming. We have to only take care of this when we are moving. So at that time we are invalidating for sure, but when we invalidate, what is the problem, that when we start resizing, the size of these bounds, it doesn't change. What could be the reason behind it? Because if we select only one group, one bound, so it sort of changes. When we select two shape, if we select them, it changes as well, right? That is right. But when it comes to this, so it's not like everything is not changing, it's just two things, and just one thing I must say. And what is that? The bounding box of the selected shapes, grouped selected shapes. How do we change that? First of all, how are we calculating that? Forget about changing that. I mean, seriously, this is what happens. Even if I am going through that over and over, I myself have to ask question, the logic I wrote, how I wrote that, and how that works. Anyway, this is the craziest thing. So I was the one who wrote the logic. I am myself asking how I am getting that. Anyway, let's go ahead. So what do we do? How do we get this bounding box of the selected shapes? Great. So group selection, that is the one, and we get groups by the shapes. We get shapes from interaction.grouped shapes. Amazing. What do we have to do? As we move the mouse, we have to change the coordinates of this grouped shape, and that is it. Great, let's do that. So we are resizing. Great, we are resizing. When we are resizing, we have to do what? We have to get the updated shape. Is that gonna be enough? Think about it. Updated shape contains all the shapes, ultimately all the preview shapes. But are all the preview shapes grouped shapes? No. Are we storing the value of one more thing? There's some kind of error here. What is that? If that is equals to select grouped shape, needs to be the group bounds we have, and grouped shapes, get grouped. Now we need to have that logic here as well to calculate the grouped shapes. how do we calculate the grouped shapes? Amazing! We can calculate the grouped shapes with the updated shapes, and that's gonna be changed. What I mean, I'm gonna tell you just right here. What we just created here, that is this. कहाँ गया भाई? था तो इधर ही. I created it, honestly. I did that. Where I did that? Here I did that. So get group bounds. Is this the one? Not this one. Use selection. This is the one. Get grouped shapes. Really important one. Having said that, this should be where I have to keep it somewhere so that it can be reused. So let's cut it from here, and of course I cannot keep inside this, but we have transformed scale, shape and group JS. Let's have it inside transform for now, because we are transforming, right? Get grouped shapes.ts, paste it in here. This function is super helpful. It will get everything back on track. Again, thanks. No thanks to anyone. Thanks to me, I wrote this. Okay, coming back to this. So the best thing would be here that even that's equals to select. We want to get the grouped shapes. So get grouped shapes. It needs the preview shapes, an array of that, and we just have the interaction dot preview shapes. Okay, interaction dot preview shapes. Done. Group bounds, comma. As simple as that. Let's copy it. Where is the another? There's no error here. Import it. Use move. Error. Here it is. And this, and this. Having said that, at this point of time, what am I doing here? Use move. On pointer up. On pointer up, it becomes select, and the group preview shapes are gonna be there. Is this really true? This is just a minute. Don't do the things blindly, otherwise you will keep looking for the deep bugs again. So grouped shapes, get grouped shapes. We are passing the preview shapes. Why are we passing the preview shapes? Pointer up. Whenever the pointer up happens, we are passing all the preview shapes. This function will automatically get the grouped shapes and will assign it here. That's great. And we did the same thing here. That's it. Should the problem be resolved? Hopefully. Overall things are working fine. And if I just try to move it, what hopefully? What am I missing? We are not invalidating, are we? So invalidate scene. Aha, invalidate scene nahi bhai. Just invalidate. I'm not even having that here. Go to the top, and because right now when we resize wait, let me think about it. We have invalidate overlay, we have invalidate scene. These two things we have here. So when we start resizing, at that time we have to invalidate overlay. So as I'm resizing, I'm invalidating overlay, and this thing is missing. Grouped shapes, get grouped shapes, and I'm gonna pass updated shapes here. Then grouped shapes are gonna be calculated. Let's try this thing out now. and here we are. How about moving? Moving doesn't work, but resizing works. Congratulations, resizing is working. We are actually able to resize each and everything. Let's talk about move. Move. Invalidate scene. So when moving, we are invalidating the scene. On pointer up, invalidate. The same thing needs to be done here. So group shape, get group shapes, updated shapes on this. And now this is the best thing ever. I never expected it to be done so soon. What so soon? I've been busy probably for hours, don't know how long. It's already been more than 2 hours. That simply means 6 to 5 hours around. I mean around this much it took. But overall here we are. So now let's do a test here. I hope I didn't break anything. We are able to do this, write anything, give it the color. Arey hat jaye. Color. This, get the image. The image is gonna be here. Let's just simply keep it aside. We are able to move here and there. That's good. And we can just simply write anywhere. Let me see. Are we able to write anywhere in the world? Yeah, we are able to. We should be able to delete as well. So deleted. Come back here. We should be able to pan here and there. We should be able to draw the line. Done. We should be able to resize it one by one. I think it will definitely work for sure. So resizing is working. We should be able to select this all. We should be able to resize them all. We should be able to move them all. We should be able to unselect a few, and then we should be able to move these, and we should be able to change the overall design. So let's give it the color. So this is also working. So yeah, extra large. That's crazy. So we should be able to change the opacity, and भाई opacity तो मैंने सारी change कर दी. Let's make it 8. Now I should be able to send backward, send upward, send to the top, send to the back. This is also working. Now apart from this particular thing, duplicate. So we are able to duplicate the image. Delete. We are able to delete the image. Duplicate. Same, done. Delete. Same, done. Remain things are not working. Let's talk about now. Are we able to zoom in? Yeah, this is working. How about going back? Yeah, so ultimately this is the undo I'm doing. So undo is also working. Great. So undo is working as well. And apart from undo, now we have to select. Suppose these ones I selected, and I'm gonna group them. So these are grouped now. So the group ones look like this, and I can just simply resize them as well. And doesn't matter where you click in the group, they are gonna be resized as per that. So that's a good thing. And once that is done, what is this? What is the issue here? There is some kind of bug right here, so we have to just simply fix the bug. And what is the issue? As soon as we try removing, we are able to draw the things well, but we are able to select from this side, and they are sort of okay, right? But apart from this particular thing, if I move the mouse from here, something is up. And what is that? So हट जा यार. What is the issue here? Right now we are not having that. Just yeah, now we are having that. So trying to figure out the bug right now. What? Probably when the mouse goes out. Reload it. Something is up. What's that I need to figure out? Okay, fine. Let's move it here. What was that? Let's draw the images first of all. Shapes. First, second. भाई अब तो दोबारा आ जाए bug. Until unless I exactly know what the bug is, how will I fix that? It is mainly happening when we just group something. Done. Or probably after grouping we have to have more shapes here. We have to change the styles and all. कुछ तो था. Yeah. Huh. So when the mouse actually goes out, is that what the problem? No. This is not the issue. Probably we are logging some things and because of that thing it is hanging. We are just logging one thing. Time to check this. Reload the page one more time. Okay, never mind. Doesn't matter what bug that is. We'll sooner or later find that. And once we know the region exactly, and even just we know what is actually happening. Right now, I don't even know what is happening right now. So once we know that, figuring it out won't be a big deal. Right? Things seems to be all right. Let me draw a few things. Let's select it all. Alrighty, this seems to be working as of right now. Later if it doesn't work and if something goes wrong and all, we'll see exactly what we can do, right? As for right now, it is working, so let's just be okay with this. Okay, so we have got quite crazy things done. Let me just make a group of this as well. And once this is a group, then I can just simply give it the color, and now if we just simply, both of them are groups. I never thought of this. This is a case that I forgot. If there is a normal shape, that is okay. Like this one is here, so both of them are gonna look like this. But if both of them are groups, then if both are groups, then what do I have to do? I missed this. So if it contains only groups, if it doesn't contain only groups, then do this. Or what? So ultimately, interaction dot group shapes values dot length is greater than 1. So if अरे भाई क्या कर रहा तू? If there are more groups, yeah. So let's see. Yeah. So now we are able to see that when it comes to 1, it looks like this. When it comes to another one, it looks like this. When it comes to 2, it actually looks like this. So what do we mean here? That if it doesn't contain only grouped shapes, that simply means if there is some extra shape, then this particular draw is grouped shape scale should be visible, the gray color one. Otherwise, if or what is that, interaction dot group shapes, it will give me the values of that. And if the length is greater than 1 in the sense that's not just one, there are two, this one and this one, and that is why we'll have the what is this called, grouped scale, grouped shapes selection, something like that. Tried naming it better, but we'll ask AI as well to just name the things better so that the code is actually understandable and all. As of right now, this group related section is done. What is the next section? That is the framing section. So we have to work on that framing section as well. Once that framing is done too, then that is it. Then I will introduce WebSocket and all, and we'll try to create a real-time drawing board, and that won't be hard because we have to just simply pass the data here and there over there. So that's gonna be easy peasy. Okay, so that was it. I'm gonna be catching up soon. Just gonna have a break for a while, and after that I'll be back and we'll continue from here on. Until then, bye bye, take care, and see you.